Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fretboard Journal Podcast. It's me, Sophia, assistant editor at the magazine, taking over the podcast once again. A great joy of mine getting to do these episodes is getting to talk to both musical heroes of mine and inspirations, and also close friends of mine who I feel lucky to get to introduce you to their music if you haven't heard them already. So today, the conversation is with my good friend Darryl Rahn, who is based here in Brooklyn and is from Utica, New York. We're going to talk a bit about that and the music scene up there. He is one of my favorite songwriter guitar players. If you watch videos of him, you'll see what I'm talking about, just in the way he's able to combine rhythm and voice leading and melody, and like it's all going on all at once. I can't even begin to replicate it on my own. It's pretty amazing. The timing of our conversation comes because he has a new record out today called Darryl on Capitol Records. And it is a really fun collection of songs that he recorded kind of as a challenge to himself, all by himself in his home. And what's fun about that is that, as you'll hear, we got to have the conversation that you're going to hear today in that space that he made the record that you're going to go listen to after you listen to this conversation. So please enjoy my conversation with my dear friend, Darryl Rahn. But before we get to that, the Fretboard Journal Podcast is brought to you by some great bands, including Peghead Nation. For 10 years now, Peghead Nation has been the finest spot on the internet to become a better acoustic player. You can get your first month free or $20 off any annual subscription with the promo code Fretboard at checkout. And we're also the podcast is sponsored by our good friends at Mike and Mike's Guitar Bar, so make sure to check them out. All right, without further ado, here is that aforementioned conversation with Mr. Darryl Rahn. Thanks for coming on the Fretboard Journal Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you have a new record that is coming out. That is out by the time of this podcast dropping.
Oh, nice.
And which is exciting. Let's kind of go back a little for people that are new to your music and talk about kind of where songwriting and guitar playing started. So can you tell us a little bit about growing up in Utica?
Yes. Growing up in Utica I really like Utica. I think it gets a lot of hate, especially from people from elsewhere in New York State, but I have a really soft spot for it. There wasn't really a music scene, but that actually made me and my friends create one, which was, I guess, the point. That is a music scene, I guess. But there was like one cafe where you could play, and eventually, me and my friends just played there every Friday or whatever for a minute. But before that, I wanted to play guitar because this guest teacher came to my 5th grade class to help teach us about the Dust Bowl via song.
Whoa.
So his name was Chris Holder, and he came and we wrote songs about the Dust Bowl. And that was like our assignment, which looking back, I'm like, I don't know who greenlit that. But this guy was pretty sick, and he had a beautiful Martin acoustic guitar, and he played it every day. And I was sitting right next to him, and I was just like, that sounds amazing. And me and my friend Peter at the time, we were probably like competitive with each other, and we both got a guitar that week and started taking lessons.
Because of the Dust Bowl guy.
Because of the Dust Bowl guy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just like, I had listened to music before and liked it. I liked, whatever my parents had played up to that point, but this guy made me want to actually play an acoustic guitar and one day sing, which was, not to happen for a few years. But yeah, I trace it all back to Chris Holder.
That is, wow, I did not know that was the start. Okay, so yes. You start taking guitar lessons, and presumably you're not just learning songs about the Dust Bowl when you start taking guitar lessons. What kind of music are you playing?
Well, the first little bit my teacher, Steve, who I still keep in touch with to this day, amazing guy. Eventually, he just let me learn whatever I wanted to. But at the very beginning, he was, he brought out some sheet music and we were learning Mary Had a Little Lamb and stuff so I could learn the notes. And that drove me crazy. But eventually, I started writing my own riffs and coming in with weird questions and new ideas. And he was really responsive to that and helped me figure out theory kind of backwards. Like I would come in with something I had already written and then he would help me figure out what the theory behind it was or why it quote unquote sounded good. And so that was super helpful. But the first like bands I brought in to learn were probably like Green Day, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like When I Come Around, Green Day was one of the first songs I had to learn. It like made him teach me.
Wow.
And yeah, Under the Bridge was a huge first, like that was the first song that I learned where I was like, I'm going to show everyone in my extended family this on Christmas Eve. And yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, great. So those are some early days, and I'm glad that you kind of touched on the upstate music scene a bit too. Let's talk a bit about when you start writing your own songs. When does that start happening?
Yeah, that happened in 8th grade.
Young.
Yeah. It might have been 9th grade. I think it might have been 9th grade. It was the spring of either 8th or 9th grade, and my friend Connor and I decided to book our own show at the coffee shop where they hosted music called College Street Cafe, and we spent the week prior writing songs together to play at the show, mixed in with like some Vampire Weekend covers and I can't remember exactly what else, but so that's when we first, me and him, I would say, decided together to start writing songs. And then from there, never stopped from that point on.
Okay, so early days were more like that Green Day influence and such like that. When do you, people might not totally hear that in like, for example, the new record. Like what was kind of your gateway into like more folk alternative music? When does that start? Is that high school-ish? Yeah,
high school is when I heard like I got really into Ben Queller, which was still a huge influence on me. Guster was another favorite band at the time. Ben Folds, like these like angsty guys with guitars and pianos.
And lyric focused music for sure.
Yeah, really lyric focused. Like Ben Folds told stories, and I was always kind of envious of that and wanted to try to do that. And I, later in high school, I discovered the Avett Brothers, which I used to be a huge fan of, and started going to shows like that, and it blew my mind. And so that, and I had a John Mayer phase. I also loved Norah Jones. Like, I don't know when I got into Casey Musgraves, but she wasn't that much further down the road. And so, yeah, a lot of these different folky, indie, country-ish artists started to pique my interest, I guess.
Yeah. And when does this then coincide with, because you do have several records.
Mm-hmm.
When do you start recording your own songs?
I started recording in high school, like 11th grade. There's some really old recordings somewhere. Those were I would say the first proper recordings I made, like that I released, were my freshman year of college. So I had an EP I made with a friend, and that's gone now too, off the internet. But that's when I started attempting to explore recording, and every year there's a new album from years ago that I want to delete from my permanent record. But the earliest one that's up on all streaming or whatever is 2018. So that was,
yeah, you've been at it.
Yeah, I've been at it, and I think made a few too many attempts early on, but I guess I'm glad I did. I just hope nobody finds them at this point.
I relate to that a lot because I've had people say to me, but think about some of the early stuff of artists you love, and you'd be so mad if that stuff wasn't on the internet.
Yeah, but their stuff's better.
Well, we're always going to think that. We're always going to think that.
Yeah.
But I feel that too. I mean, I've talked on this podcast before about a record that I made when I was 15 that was on the internet for a bit and how abhorrent it was to me. But I still get people once in a while ask like where that went. And it's like, oh, really? Yeah.
Wow.
You want to hear a 15-year-old sing about love like they experienced
but it is important. It's like people need to. Somebody needs it.
That's true.
It's just it's just not you anymore.
Okay, so we've made it to college years, which is where you start dabbling. I mean, you don't start, but you're writing your own songs and you're recording more. Mm-hmm. What'd you go to college for, and what was your musical experience like during that time?
Yeah, I mean, I went for music. I went to Berkeley for 1 year and had a really like depressive year, and just basically every day, like all I can really remember from that time is being in the dining hall or being in a little rehearsal room.
Those dungeons.
Yeah, there's like a glass door. You could see other kids walking by to their little, hole. And I just spent all my time in there trying to write songs. And then I guess I'd go to my dorm, listen to music, go to the dining hall. And then I just felt like I didn't really socialize at all because I felt like I shouldn't, or else I'd miss the opportunity to write a song. Or it was something, it wasn't really healthy for an 18-year-old. But so I went to Berkeley for a year and then transferred to a place called SUNY Purchase, where I felt a lot more at home and a lot more social and like a person again, even though I still mainly just hung out in the rehearsal rooms. But
it was more familiar territory.
Yeah, it felt like a campus, and like it felt similar to where I grew up more so, which I think I still needed. I was like, I struggled to leave the nest, so to speak. So I think I needed a more comfortable landing place before I moved to like a bigger city to try to be a musician.
Yeah. And some of your collaborators you met during that college time. Could you talk about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I met so many people there that I still keep in touch with. Like, I mean, one of my biggest inspirations and now just friends is Sean McVeary. He like showed me around the campus, and he's like, he lives here in Brooklyn, and he's, still going, and still my idol in a lot of ways. And like some professors there I still keep in touch with that were, I thought at the time I was like, wow, they're being so hard on me, and I would like get back to my room like wanting to cry. But if I didn't take class from them, I wouldn't have seen like how much work I could do, or how much work I still had left to do if I wanted to be good. And yeah, and like just a bunch of friends, like I have friends, like I could list them all off. I probably shouldn't do that for the sake of time, but so many people that I've like recorded with and been in bands with and played shows with. It's just like, yeah, there were so many people that I still keep in touch with.
Yeah. Well, this is a guitar podcast after all, and if people have seen you play either online or live, you're likely to have this old Martin. Oh yeah. Can you talk about how that guitar came into your life?
Yes. I have a buddy from upstate who is a proper reseller, I guess. Like he collects vintage instruments and keeps a lot of them, but sells a lot of them and knows how to flip and repair and all that stuff. So he found this old Martin in a place in Albany, New York, and it was pretty beat up. He got a little work done on it, and then I was home and he was like, you got to come see this guitar. I think it's yours.
Do you know the year or around?
58.
58.
Yeah, 580018. And it's been like, there's clearly been a lot of work done on it, so it's very player grade, but it's perfect for me and it's my size. But yeah, my buddy Seth found this guitar, and I like went to go play it just to hang out, and as soon as I played it, I was like, like I don't know if it's just because he said he thought it was mine, but as soon as I played it, I was like, I gotta have this guitar. So I ended up trading him some cash, 2 lesser guitars, and a mic for this guitar. And I kind of he doesn't know this, but I traded him a J45 Studio, which was one of the newer J45s, which I found on Facebook Marketplace, and I hated this thing. Like, I thought it was what I wanted, and I played it, and I was like, this sounds boxy and thin, but it went up in value in the time that from when I bought it to when I gave it to Seth or traded it to Seth. So I won a little bit in the deal.
Nice.
But I think I still lost technically, but I think he thought that guitar was worth a little more.
Well, okay, but
sorry, Seth.
But without capitalism involved, you won in the sense that you got like your frickin' instrument. Like, your forever guitar.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find it affected or changed your songwriting?
Well, I think every time I've ever gotten a new guitar, I subscribe to the idea that there are songs within the guitar to find. And so I just, I always let that fuel me. So I wrote a ton of songs, and I still write a lot of songs on that guitar. And just the comfort I feel playing that guitar. It's like I bring it everywhere, and it's just, I don't know. I can't put it down, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like fused with you in a way.
Yeah, it feels very much fused. And so I just feel like very comfortable writing on it, and I trust it.
Another thing, we'll get back to maybe perhaps the more fun questions soon, but we do like to talk a little gear here. So another thing I've told you as my friend is that I'm always so impressed by your live sound. Because usually a plugged-in acoustic guitar sounds like butt.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us can you share the secret of how you get this Martin to sound so good live?
Yeah, well, it's been a long process because I used to just plug into the house, and I'd hear a video back and, plug my ears. But
which is frustrating because as acoustically, it's your favorite guitar. So
right.
When you hear it sounding like that in a video, it sucks so much.
Yeah, it was painful, and I am really sensitive to like harsh sounds. So with the help of some of my friends too, I first got the LR Bag Session DI box, so I no longer use the radial, house DI. And that alone, like the way I have learned to EQ it and dial it in, sounds pretty good. But now I've also paired it with the Line 6 Helix Stomp, which I was skeptical of for a minute, but once I got it and learned how to use it, it really helped because now I throw a little bit of this retro reel, it's called, on there, plus a compressor. I can't think of the exact compressor name right now. And that might be it that I have on there right now. But that just adds a little bit of tapiness and dirt to the sound. And it just also helps, I think, EQ it in that way where there's a lot less high end and but it doesn't take away the character. So I'm like keeping that for the time being, and until I find something better. But
I'm picturing everybody just taking notes. I am too.
I mean, it's like the HX Stomp I got used, so it wasn't. I got it for like $350, and then the LR Bags I got used for like $150. So it's like not the cheapest
setup.
It's like a $500 setup, but it over the course of years, it's
but also
doable.
And if you are someone who is actively gigging acoustic, like what I want to segue into is you play your own music, but you also play with some other people, and you play acoustic guitar for some other people. So, I think that kind of getting that perfect sound is invaluable in a way. Okay, so I want to segue into this. So, we're going to talk about this record that's come out. Let's talk a little bit about side manning. So you've played with some different artists. You currently play with our friend Samia.
Yeah.
Where you're playing mostly acoustic guitar and some electric. Yeah. How would you say your approach to, playing with a friend of ours, playing somebody else's music, feels different than when you're just kind of up there alone and you're playing your own songs and your own parts you've written?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot less stressful in some ways.
Most people's answer to that question is that. Exactly.
Yeah. But I really enjoy it because when I'm listening to my favorite music, I'm always kind of tuning into the distant acoustic strummy guitar in the left ear, whatever. And it's like to be able to be that is really fun for me. And so I focus way more on my rhythmic aspects and being really dialed into the tempo. And, it's made me, grow my chops a lot in that, where it's like I have to be on the grid, so to speak.
You have to be steady. Yeah.
And so it's like I'm thinking way more just about how to fill out the mix of the song and whatever parts I play. Sometimes when I'm playing for myself, it's like there are moments where it's like, oh, well, maybe I should flash a little here just to, try to win over some of the people that don't know who I am or whatever, which, is, I don't love saying, but it is part of the game in a way. And with someone like Sammy, it's like I'm just trying to be as integral to the song as possible. I'm not trying to be noticed.
Totally.
And so it's nice. And then listening back to the mix the next day in the house, it's like, oh, cool. Like this sounds great. Or okay, I poked out here. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. You're serving a totally different function than your own stuff. Yeah. It's interesting. Like well-rounded players will have different experiences in both of those settings instead of just being like, it's all guitar. Okay, cool. So you have a lot going on. I can talk about this just because you've discussed it on the internet too, which is like you made a record and that's still in progress. But this record that's come out is like a record you made by yourself in response to recording music in a studio because you're so prolific. So, okay, so let's talk about recording. I will mention that we are in your apartment/studio right now.
Yeah.
This is a fun, rare opportunity for me where I get to record in person a podcast interview, which is fun. And we're looking at Willow the dog asleep.
Yep. She's sleeping.
Okay, so I'm glad that we're in here because, like I mentioned, you've made a bunch of records in a more traditional studio setting. This one that's come out, you made by yourself in here. Talk about working in this space and kind of what drew you to wanting to make this by yourself.
Yeah, like I wanted to. Well, I had a bunch of new songs coming to me a few weeks or a month or so after finishing this other album, but I definitely didn't have the budget to go back into the studio, and also didn't really have the energy to, call up everybody and learn a bunch of new songs for this project that I thought was already done. So I just started making demos to keep myself intrigued and busy, and then once I got the hang of things a little more, I was like, oh, I actually kind of like how this sounds. Like it doesn't, like if I were to compare it to, a really hi-fi record, I'd be like, okay, well, this is not quite up to snuff. But when I would wake up and listen first thing in the morning back to what I did the day before, I was like, oh, I actually am happy with this. And so maybe I can follow that. And I ended up putting out like an A/B side from just those sessions for fun, because I didn't have anything coming out for a while, and I figured it'd be nice to release some music again. And then people responded to it in a way that seemed
you
more...
went what the children call viral for a second there.
I would say miniature viral.
There was a moment.
But yeah, like people responded to this song in a way that...
This is the song Silent Acknowledgement.
Silent Acknowledgement, yeah. People, like, I release a lot of music, so I have a good barometer of like what I was going to expect at best, and it surpassed that. So I was like, oh, well, like I made previous stuff in a studio and this was not that, so maybe I can just do this for a second. It
was some good encouragement.
It was good encouragement, and I was learning a lot because I have never mixed before. I didn't know how to compress. I didn't know how to EQ, like any of that stuff, really. I just knew the basics. So to try to make something sound good at home was a huge class for me. And I ended up shortly after making those songs and releasing those songs, I decided to limit myself to only stuff I had at my disposal. Like I wasn't gonna, as much as I wanted to, even like our friend Jack who plays pedal steel, like I wanted to call him up and be like, can you send me a track for this song? And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna try to build out songs completely myself, just as a limitation that I think helped me like work quicker and more efficiently, and not just bank on someone else to fill in the gaps for me. And
it forces you to be a lot of different kinds of players.
Yeah. And it was like, really, I mean, there's still a few of the songs where I'm like, it would have been nice to have some pedal steel maybe, but like
art is never
finished.
It's abandoned.
Yes. Oh yeah. And I've been forcing, I mean,
you've been forcing abandonment.
Yeah, I'm forcing abandonment. So like basically, I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely.
But it started as just an EP, like 4 to 5 songs. And then
425.
425.
I heard 45. I was like, where did all those songs go?
Yeah. No, 4 or 5 songs. And then I was ready to just call it a day and be like, yes, I made something at home. And then as time went on, I was like, I have more to this story. I want like this. I need this kind of vibe. I need this kind of vibe to fill out the record in my head. And eventually, I had made 10 or 11 songs. And then some wise friends pointed me against one of them especially, which I think it was a good call. It wasn't very good. But I distilled it down to 9 songs, which I felt like was enough of a statement for me to feel like I was making, or it was enough material for me to feel like I was making a statement. And I felt like I saw through the idea of limiting myself to making something at home with just stuff I had. And so yeah, and I just, because of the timeline of things, and by the time I got masters and whatever back from the other record, I decided, well, I'm just going to let that one sit until I'm done with this. And so I'm kind of reverse engineering my sound, where it's like, here's what I sound like, but I also have this like higher quality thing on the back burner that I'll, release later.
But it all sounds like you, which is a conversation we've had before, which is I do feel strongly like, obviously I care a lot about the sound of records, but you're such a songwriter, in terms of lyrically speaking too. So I feel like even if the 2 records have different textures, like I'm listening for the song itself, So I think that both have their own flavor and excitement in a way.
Well, thanks. We need people like you. Because I'm like listening back and I'm like, I really wish I was a better mix engineer. But
I think that's reassuring for people listening to this to hear too, which is like, even records you love, like, yeah, we all have question marks after,
Mm-hmm.
we all ask ourselves these questions. I mean, I certainly do with my own records, where I'll hear little things that nobody will ever hear.
Oh, totally. And I also know with this one, it's like, it's been hard for me to let it go, but I officially have, like, I've delivered it. It's gone. It's out of my hands. But I know that in a year, or especially 2 years, like, that I'll look back and be like, wow, I'm really glad I like saw that through and released it. 'Cause even if I don't, I'll probably not enjoy the mixes even more by then, but or I'll enjoy them even less by then. But I'll be glad that I have that chapter, that entry of my life,
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk a little. I'm looking at a few different guitars. Let's just like briefly run down some stuff on this record. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at a rubber bridge.
Got a rubber bridge.
Let's talk about this rubber bridge. So, do we hear it on this record a little bit?
Very little bit.
Okay,
it was actually one of the last things to be added.
Cool. Okay, what else? Do we hear some Strat?
There's a lot of Strat.
There's a lot of Strat. Okay.
The Strat is basically every electric guitar on the album.
Cool.
I wanted to use a Tele I had, but it just wasn't right for some things.
I mean, you said Strat. You got to go Strat.
Yeah.
It was just screaming.
Yeah.
We have a mandolin.
Yep. The mandolin, that was a gift from my sister a couple of years ago at Christmas. It is not on the album. I have not yet really learned it, but I still plan
It could kind of fit into the vibe, I'd say.
Yeah.
And what are you rocking in terms of a bass?
The bass, I got my $200 Hofner high series B bass.
Hell yeah.
And I love that thing, except I recently borrowed our friend Zoe Zeman's bass, or I accidentally had it. She left it here or something, and I used it to record a demo, and I was like, oh, this is what a bass
What
sounds
was
like.
it?
It was her like cool blue one. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
It might be a Jaguar or something.
Yeah,
but
it looks
was
like that, and it has like the 3 thin pickups. Yeah.
And it sounded so good just through the box. So I was like,
Oh, so you might be converted.
I should have. Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, eventually I should buy a proper bass, but that was a COVID purchase when I was really like, I didn't need a bass, but I'm glad I got it.
Well, clearly you did need it because you ended up
Yeah.
making a whole record in your room.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool. So this record, it's out now, and
Yeah.
I'm winking at you because we're definitely recording
the
this
future.
earlier. We're living in the future. Okay, so it's out now. Tell us a bit about what you got going on in the next bit in the future. What's exciting this year besides all this lead up to releasing an album?
Yeah. That excitement is
Palpable.
really palpable. Depending when this comes out, I have some shows in the UK coming up. Maybe I already played those.
No, you haven't yet.
Oh, okay. I haven't played those yet. So I have three UK shows, which I'm really excited about because I've never headlined for sure over there. I've only played like a small set in London. So that should be fun. Then I'm opening for this guy, Sean Solomon in New York, which he just put out this amazing album that a friend actually sent me a few weeks ago. And then the booking request, whatever, came in.
Wow,
very
isn't it
serendipitously.
amazing when
Yeah.
something like that happens?
Yeah, so that was sweet. I'm really excited because I definitely am into the record, and I think I'm going to be into the live show based on what I've seen. And then I'm going to play some Samia shows.
Holding down that rhythm.
Holding down the rhythm for Samia. I'm going to be starting to make a lot of videos and stuff for the next album because
Nice.
I'm trying to plot that way ahead.
It
and
never stops.
never stops. I'm going to hopefully visit my family a bunch in the summer because the summer's kind of chill. Teach some lessons. Hopefully record for some other people, like from home, like send out some guitar tracks. And
Yeah, I mean, you developed a setup making this record
yeah.
that can totally apply to some other stuff now.
Yeah, it's the goal. I mean, I think eventually I'd love to be able to get some new gear to sound a little bit more real, but
You sound real. What are you
Yeah.
saying?
it's just a depth that I want to achieve.
I think we all feel that way.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, your friend.
It was truly no trouble at all.